Oh my gosh, he just dipped his paw in the watercolor paint and now his paw's all purple. Oh, cat. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another fun, crafty, unique things to do in your passion planner when you have blank weeks. So my last video we talked about hand lettering. Using those blank spreads is a perfect way to practice your hand lettering skills because hand lettering is hard and it takes a lot of practice. So this is kind of what we did in our last video, and now we're going to move on to something that's definitely, I mean, hand lettering is fun, but I think this is more fun. It's a little more creative and it's a little bit more terrifying because you're going to put watercolors in your planner. So I've done a watercolor spread. I've actually done 2 watercolor plan with me's before. It was in a, what was that year? Gosh, it was probably 2018 that I did it. And the planners back in 2018 did have a different paper than the planners for 2020. The planners for 2020 are actually I'm just flipping to this. The planners for 2020 are actually made out of recycled paper, or no, it's not recycled paper, it's bamboo paper. Sorry, bamboo paper, which is awesome, but it is different than the paper that I used back in 2018. So I don't quite know how this paper is going to react to watercolors. I know, say a little planner prayer for me, please, that I don't just completely ruin my planner using watercolors. But if someone's got to try it, and that someone's gonna be me. So like I talked about in my last video, February was a pretty empty month for me. It just was not a month of planning. It wasn't my month. It's fine, we're moving on. So I have a whole month that I can use all these blank spreads for. I've gone in and labeled what I want to do with them. So we can figure out what to use these blank planner spreads for. So this one's the watercolor one. I do recommend, at least for watercolors, that you either do it on one that leads up to a monthly reflection page if you don't tend to use your monthly reflection pages, or if you don't care if the watercolor bleeds through. So if this isn't something you share on social media, I mean, if you don't care at all, that's my recommendation. Use a week that there's gonna be a gap, because I'm gonna tell you right now, they're gonna bleed through. They bled through on the last old paper, probably gonna bleed through on this paper. It's not watercolor paper. So I also suggest that either A, you have a sick week that didn't get filled in, or you have a week that you don't really care if some bleed through shows through. That was hard to say. So just to keep things safe and somewhat protected potentially, I'm just gonna put a piece of paper towel between these 2 pages. Just sometimes I noticed, at least last time, it would bleed through and ignore my nails. Coronavirus problems, am I right? And sometimes I noticed that the watercolor would seep through the seams since the planner's stitched together in that bookbinding technique. So I'm hoping that maybe the paper towel can help absorb any loose watercolor. So that's at least what I'm going to do to prep my planner for this, because like I said, it's gonna bleed. I also have a glass of water. I have my watercolor palette. This is the Superior Watercolors. I got it off of Amazon. I will link everything that I can, at least, in the video description below, so you'll be able to access my Amazon, what is it, storefront? Something like that. So yeah, so here's the watercolor. It has a little mixing tray, has a bunch of colors, sponges. I have some watercolor brushes in here. Yeah, we're gonna set that off to a side. I do have some paper towels over here so I can clean my brushes, because once you dip them in the water, you want to dry them a little bit on the paper towel. I have a spray bottle because if you get your watercolors moist before you start using them, they tend to mix better and make a better pigment. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and just lightly spray that right now. I know you can't see it and I would do it on camera, but then I would spray my planner. So that's that. And then I also have some brushes. My wonderful employee, Ashley, actually brought me these. So they are from Michael's, I can at least tell you that. But just a little assortment of sizes. I have some really small ones and then some really big ones. I'll probably end up using this little round tipped guy just because he's not too big and he's not too small. There we go. And the fine tip will be able to get the finer details. So I'm gonna just pull that out and then leave everything else on the side. What else do I have? I have washi tape because someone was asking how do you tape off areas of your planner that you don't want watercolor on. Good question. You guys are asking me all the good questions that I don't necessarily know the answers to. So I just got some washi tape and we'll tape some sections off and we'll see if it works. I know that like legit watercolor artists use like painter's tape and stuff, but I've noticed that if the tape is really sticky, it peels the paper off with it if you like go to try to adjust it. So I know washi tape's safe. I know this particular roll is safe. And so I'm just gonna give that one a try and we'll see how it works. So I'm actually just gonna go ahead and dive right in and tape off the first section. I'm gonna do kind of different styles of watercolors that you can do in your planner instead of like a consistent theme throughout the entire week. I figured it might be kind of fun to be like, here's like one style, here's a different style, and these are styles that I'm totally just going with the flow with. I am not a watercolor artist. So yeah, we're gonna wing it a little bit, but that's how I roll, especially with my YouTube videos. Not a lot of pre-planning goes into them. I just like to be the real me, show you what I got, and this is it. Okay, so I have my Monday all taped off. We'll see how this goes. So the first technique, I'm gonna go ahead and get my brush wet, and then I'm just gonna kind of dampen it on this paper towel. So let's see, the first one I wanna do is like a color washing. So this is gonna be kind of like a gradient color. And let's pick this purple color because it's really pretty. Let's see, can I have this watercolor palette and my planner in here? Kind of, we'll see. We'll see how this works out. Need all the space I can get. I'm gonna spray it a little bit more because Hercules just jumped up here and then I sprayed the spray bottle and he did not appreciate that. And I'm gonna use my little washing tray. I'm gonna put some water on that. There we go. Get some pretty purples going in here. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of upward stroke this and get all my saturated color down here on the bottom. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna blend, but we will find out. So then I'm just gonna take a wet brush. I'm gonna kind of dry it a little bit because I don't wanna oversaturate this page because I know it's gonna bleed through. And if it happens, it happens. And I'm just gonna kind of go up and do like a little bit of like a gradient. So it's not blending the best, but this isn't watercolor paper, so you kind of have to move a little fast because once it starts to dry, it doesn't like to reblend. So if you want it to be a little bit darker in areas, I would just add some more pigment or paint, I guess I should say. It's paint. That's not bad. See if I can get it a little bit darker down here. And it's probably as dark as the paint goes unless I add some black to make it darker. But this is, yeah, like a color washing, like gradient effect. I also, like I said, I'm not a watercolor artist, so don't, if the terminology is wrong, I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So that'll be fun. The nice part with the watercolors too is for the most part, any pen, once it dries, any pen can write over it. I want to do like a fun like galaxy day over here. Any like white gel pen, if you have like a dark color, looks really cool on the watercolor paper technique. So I have like a jelly roll. This is a really, really fat guy. And then one that I really like is this Uniball Signo with the white ink. This one's almost empty. I don't even know if this one's actually gonna write. So those are two really fun things you can do if you do like darker colors. Use the white gel pen. It looks really cool. Or even like some of the, oh man, other fun like neon colors. Yep. I'm gonna let this dry for a minute and then I'm gonna remove the tape and we can move on to the next one. Okay, so this is pretty dry now, so I feel at least comfortable enough to take the washi tape off. So let's see how the washi tape did sealing off the watercolor. Oh my gosh, look at that. Ooh, this is like the most satisfying thing ever. If anything, if you ever do watercolor in your planners, do this because this is so much fun. Come here. Okay, there's a little smidgen of where it's bled through the tape a little bit. Let's pick her up. Just right there. But like, look how good that did. And then I was also really surprised there isn't any bleed through. No bleed through, which is amazing. I was really nervous of that happening. So we'll see how it goes throughout all of the days. I feel like I kind of went gentle on this page, but we'll find out. So who knows, maybe this paper is even better and I was just bashing on it for no reason. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and tape off my other section. Okay, so I did ask on Instagram if people had any questions for me while I filmed, because sometimes I feel like I'm just sitting here in silence and like I don't have anything to talk about. So someone asked me how they can incorporate more art journaling into their planners, and I definitely think using this washi tape and then watercoloring in what you like blocked off is a great way to add watercolor or like artsy things to your planner. I mean, even doodles, watercolor pencils. I would definitely stay away from anything like a chalk pastel or like an oil pastel, because that'll probably rub against each other when you close your planner and then make your art into a brown mush. So I would definitely stay away from that. I mean, you can do fun stickers. Glitter glue. I mean, can you imagine doing glitter glue over your planner spreads with sparkles? Why have I never done that before? The only other thing to keep in mind is like anything that is like puffy or like big. If you have like big stickers or like pieces of foam or something, it's going to make it difficult to write on the next day because it's going to get lumpy. There is definitely some texture going on with the watercolor on this page. It's definitely making it a little wrinklier, but I kind of love it. I don't know, it makes it feel used. And so if you are an art journaler and that's what you love to do, I would love to see your planner at the end of the year all like crinkly and chunky and just well loved and well used. I think that would be amazing. Okay, so for the next one, we're gonna do like a color blending. So let's see, let's pick like this pretty like green color. Ooh. Okay, this is where I'm gonna have to get kind of heavy with it though. But I'm thinking if I just add a lot of water. I took away a little bit too much pigment when I pulled that up, so I just pulled the blue color again and kind of touched up where the paper was showing through. But otherwise, that's a fun little technique for mixing the colors. Color blending is what I'm calling it. You can, yeah, do an assortment of colors. You can do multiple colors. This is just 2 colors. So I'm gonna let that dry for a minute and then we'll remove the tape and we'll do the next color. Okay, this one is finally dry. This one took a little while because it did use a little bit more water to get the colors to blend. So let's go ahead and peel off this tape. How cool did that turn out? Let's get a little close up. And then this one did bleed slightly, but overall it really didn't bleed that much, so I'm very impressed with that. Okay, so for the next one, I'm gonna go ahead and tape off those sections again. I'm just gonna pull up my questions really quick so I don't forget. And we'll just tape off this next section. So one person did ask how Zeus was doing. Zeus is my cat. If you didn't know, he does like to make frequent appearances on the YouTube channel. I believe he probably is helping Ian. Ian's my husband. Probably helping him cook dinner. He definitely likes to supervise that, you know, make sure that we're doing everything correctly because we don't know what we're doing. He has to watch us. And then I do have my other cat, Hercules. He makes appearances sometimes too. He's a little bit more shy. And he's asleep over here on the chair that's next to my desk. I'm trying to make this washi tape really straight. And then someone also asked me if I'd ever considered doing a watercolor monthly spread. And yes, definitely. I mean, this one's working out so far, so a watercolor monthly spread would be a lot of fun to do too. And then the last question I'll answer before we start painting is if I'm picking up any hobbies during this whole social distancing, coronavirus, stay away from other people situation. And yes, I am picking up, I picked up I'm into plants. I'm a plant lover. I love plants. And I picked up a macrame kit for like a hanging plant. And so I can learn how to macrame and macrame my own little hanging plant holder thing. So I'm excited to learn that. I also kind of want to pick up like needlepoint. I think that'd be fun too. So we'll see. Overall, it's just trying to stay busy with this business. Trying out a new thing right now. We're watercoloring. So here we go, trying new things. So let's see. My next technique is just to do like a color blocking type spread, but with watercolors. I'm gonna spray my watercolors again. That last one took a little while to dry, so everything dried out. So there's a couple different techniques I am gonna try with color blocking. The first one is just like going ahead, and I guess I didn't necessarily have to tape it off, but I did anyways, and like drawing in my own squares that are kind of like rough and edgy, you know, because you want that like that watercolor look. I feel like I way oversaturated this color. So I might take a paper towel that has a cat hair in it, because of course it would. And now the watercolor has a cat hair in it, because it would too. And kind of soak up some of this watercolor. Just to make it a little lighter. Plus it kind of does add a fun little technique, or like texture, that's the word I'm looking for, to the watercolor pattern. There's still a cat hair in there. It's part of the planner now. So if you look like that's a cool little technique. So just putting on a lot of color and then taking it away with a paper towel. You could also like washi tape off. Let's do a little like washi tape. Like if you want to be like super critical on the edges of your boxes. That is not going to be long enough. You could tape off this section. So let's do. The only hard part is like if you do tape it off, like you have to do like one box at a time, or like skinny washi tape. and let the watercolor dry. So that's the only real con with that. Okay, so here is the little tape off section. I tried to do like a little gradient box. So we'll see how that turns out once it dries. Again, passion planner paper is not watercolor paper, so blending is a little tricky with that. So we'll let that dry. That's probably gonna take a minute. And then another fun technique is if you paint with water first, you can do some cool watercolor techniques. Of course, I'm like, watch, it's gonna be so cool, and then it's not gonna be cool. Let's see, let's take this green. A little wet. Okay, let's see if I can pull off the Instagram watercolor technique. Okay, okay. It's kind of doing it. It just might take a little while to dry, but the nice part is we can let this one dry and move on to the next one since it doesn't interfere, the washi tape that like blocks it off. But that's kind of fun. So you can kind of do a technique that definitely blends the colors a lot easier. Let's see if I take some paper towel just to dry this up, because that's going to be the hard part, is not having so much water that it does bleed through. I know we haven't had a lot of issues yet, but I have been slightly careful in how much water I put on because the paper doesn't absorb it. It definitely just sits there and sits there and sits there until it either dries or it bleeds through. And even like the pink one up top, see, it's just kind of like all blending together now instead of being like a gradient. So again, this is why it's perfect to use those empty spreads for testing things out, because you can really play with the techniques and be like, okay, this worked well, this didn't work well, I should use the paper towel more, or things like that. Since this isn't a watercolor paper, you can kind of figure out what works best for you and what you like. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna go ahead and tape off this Thursday section. And I need to take my brush out of the water. You don't want to let your brush sit in the water for too long, because otherwise it'll smush the tip of your brush because it'll be resting on the bottom of the glass. So I mean, definitely like clean your brushes, but don't let them sit in the cup. Those boxes are going to be a lot of fun once they dry. And I did do a watercolor video, like I said, in like 2018 or whatever, where I did like a time interval block, like a color blocking, but with watercolors, and it turned out really cool. So I will definitely link that, and you can go watch that because it's a fun technique, because you can write over the boxes, and it's just, I mean, if I could only, I feel like time interval, color block, and watercolors in my planner, I would do that for forever. I'd be okay with that. Heck, maybe I just need to, you know, get a planner that's just a watercolor planner and just call it a day. Okay, so the next one, we're gonna kind of get a little bit more abstract. Just some fun, like, deco things. So, like, splotches, which making a splotch is probably gonna be easier said than done for me. Maybe I should get a bigger brush. Let's do like this big guy. And I'm going to use my little mixing tray and get some colors in here that we can do splotches with. So let's do this purple because it's just so pretty. And I'm gonna add a lot of water to it, so it's a little bit more translucent. That way you'll be able to see the Passion Planner lines underneath it, potentially. Oh, that's not as splotchy as I thought it would be. Oh, there we go. Okay, okay. I was definitely thinking more of like the classic like splatter, but I'll take this. I'm also trying not to get it all over the place since I am doing different techniques. Let's get some different colors up in here. There we go. And then if you just drop the water. Let's see. I'm going to do some like just water droplets, and then I'm going to add some color to them. Ooh, that's fun. I like this, and I want to just clean up. I need more paper towels. I'm just going to clean up right over here where I got some pink, just so when I do peel the tape off, okay. So let's see if I can expand some of these to be a little less like that. This is really pretty though right here. I'm really liking this. Okay, I'm just taking just a wet, just water and kind of blending some of these dots together so they look a little more paint splattery instead of just like water droplets. But then it's kind of fun because it's also blending the colors together. I don't know. Is that fun? Does that look ridiculous? Who knows? So I'm almost playing like connect the dots, but with water droplets. And it just adds a fun little texture and some interest so you can go over once it's dry and like just plan like you normally would. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my paper towel. I'm gonna wash my brushes, and I'm just gonna absorb some of this extra. That way this will dry a little bit faster and we can get on to the next theme. Okay, while that dries, I'm just gonna go ahead and peel off the tape for the blocks. At least careful. I can probably peel off this tape for the wet stuff too, since I'm no longer painting. So let's go ahead and peel this off. Oh. So this one definitely bled through the washi tape a little bit. I probably shouldn't have done this one right along a seam, but oh well. That was just the washi tape. That was not my planner tearing, I promise. There's a little bit of damage. There's definitely some bleed through. I'm gonna grab, again, my little piece of paper towel because I got some wet bubbles right along here. And then we'll peel this off. Oh, okay, let's see. Let's start from the top. So this one was definitely a little bit more wet and messy, which we knew. It did tear my planner a little bit. You can definitely see it's really wet right there, and then tore that up. You can kind of peek on the other side. Yeah, and you can see it did bleed through a little bit, but I did put a lot of water down. So, I mean, it's fine. I had the thoughts that, yes, it was probably going to bleed through, and it did. So, at least I had that expectation. So I'm just going to let this dry a little bit, and then we will do the next one. Okay, so this is all dry. So we'll go ahead and grab, I was like, where did I put my washi tape? Tape off our next section. And then the next question we have is, if you had to do one theme for a whole Passion Planner year, what would it be? Watercolor would be a lot of fun to do. If I got really good at it, it'd be a lot of fun to just like do some like watercolor flowers or like things like that. Like it would, and it would also be really cool to like reflect back on over the year. You know, you can see like how you started and then like how your technique and your skill has developed as the weeks go on. So I would totally rock a watercolor planner. But besides that, I would probably say like animal print. Is that, I feel like, theme. I'm like, is that like pen only? Is that like, so I would say like an animal print themed planner would be a lot of fun. I'm definitely Amy Coate. If you don't follow her, you should, because she's an amazing person. Let me see if I can find it. I cleaned my desk yesterday and it's already a disaster. But she sent me some Simply Gilded washi tape and I'm in love with this pink leopard print. Like I could do a whole year of this. Just these washies and pink for forever. And look at this holographic. Oh, I love it. I could do that for forever. So those two. Watercolor if I was patient enough. And otherwise pink/animal print. Okay, so for our next one, like I said, we're going to kind of get a little like artsy fartsy and abstract. And instead of just doing like one color or something, I thought it'd be fun to do stripes is what I'm getting at. So I'm kind of thinking, let's move this kind of in. What color? Oh my gosh, I'm using red. If you traced along the gray lines with a color, let's see, because it'll be kind of jaggedy because it's obviously watercolor, but I think it could look really cool once it's done. So I'm going to kind of do like a little rainbow theme. Okay, so yeah, I'm just taking my brush with the colors. This would be fun to do. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be rainbow, but just in, I mean, neutrals would be really cool, or like pastels, really light colors, and then right over it with like fun like deco stickers or something. Oh, I see all the options right now and I want to do them all. And I just, you know, I think it's come down to I just need a watercolor planner is really what it means. Maybe I'm just meant to be a watercolor artist. Okay, so let's kind of go a little bit darker. Let's do this like navy. Okay, so here's the line technique, and I realized I never showed a close-up of what the boxes looked like after I pulled the washi tape off. So yeah, you can kind of see this is the one that I taped off. It did bleed through a little bit, but I really like just the loose watercolor structure of the time blocking. So that's definitely my favorite, but I mean, that's still a good look too, if that's what you want. Just make sure you really press down the edges of your washi so that it doesn't bleed through like that. Oh, and let's do a little close-up of this. How fun is that? Oh, I really like that one. So let's let this dry. And then we just have 2 more days. I can't believe it. I really just want to watercolor for forever now. Okay, now that this is dry, we're going to go ahead and again peel off this washi tape. I love this one. This is a really fun watercolor technique, and I could just see a whole week in this. Maybe not these bright of colors because it would be hard to like write in your plans, but oh, look at that line. Look how cool that turned out. Oh my gosh. I want to do a whole week like this. This is so much fun. Okay, now on to the next one. Okay, so this next one is gonna be another really wet one. So I'm gonna make sure that all the edges of my washi tape are pressed down so it doesn't leak through. So this one I kind of want to do like a galaxy watercolor type spread. Let's move, I need more space. So I'm gonna take my big brush again and kind of wet the page. And I'm gonna spray my watercolors again. Okay. And then let's take this black and kind of go over it like how we were earlier. And we're gonna wanna blend the colors together to make like a little space themed square. Some of these colors are hard to tell what they are in the pan. That's probably brown. Yep. So let's get some purple. Kind of blend it all in. I do need some more water. Okay, let's let this guy dry for a minute and then we'll peel the tape off and I'll do some work with the white gel pens and we can see how that goes. Okay, so this is finally dry. It did take a minute and then my camera died, of course, so I had to charge that. So if angles are weird or whatever, that's why. I also need to move my light back over. Okay. So let's go ahead and peel the tape off of this one. It turned out so cool. Oh, oh it's so amazing. Look how cool that turned out. So then I'm gonna just do like a quick little like square or something just to show you. So this is the Uniball Signo in the white pen. I like it better than the Jelly Roll just because it's a little bit more opaque. And I feel like the tip's more, like it's easier to like write with. But yeah, so I'll link this in my Amazon as well. So this is what I like to use on like dark colored watercolors. It does take at least a little bit of finessing just because it is a watercolor, so I recommend it'll like pick up some of the paint you use. So I recommend just having like a notepad nearby so you can just like clean it a little bit. How cool of a technique is that? Imagine if your whole week was filled out. So awesome. So someone asked if I've ever thought of making decorative stickers regularly. Deco stickers just aren't really my thing. I don't draw my own. Oh, that light went out again. Oh well, I think it'll still be bright enough without it. I'm not an illustrator. If I do have deco stickers, I purchase the artwork from someone else. And I'm gonna be totally honest, it's kind of a pain in the butt to do. So, do I plan on it? No, I personally feel like I offer plenty of stickers as it is. And that my thing really is more functional stickers, and you gotta own your thing. You can't do all the things. Own what you've got, own what you're good at. And deco stickers aren't what I'm good at, and I'm okay with that. So will there be more deco stickers? Probably here and there, but will it be a consistent thing in the shop? No. I think my shop's already kind of packed enough as it is that it's hard enough for people to find things and order things correctly with what I already offer. So offering even more in a whole other category is a lot. And then another question that was asked was, what was it? Have you ever thought of making stickers for other planners other than the Passion Planner and Plum Paper Planner? Yes and no, and the answer is kind of the same to the last one. I'm good at what I do, and I've built my business on making passion planner stickers specifically, and that's how I've been able to have a successful business. And so you have to own your niche. That's really what it comes down to, and that's with any business. And that's what's helped my shop be so successful, is that there isn't a lot of passion planner sticker makers out there. As far as adding other planners, like for example, like Erin Condren or Happy Planner, probably not, because there's already so many amazing sticker shops out there, and it's such a popular planner company already that it's kind of hard to make a name for yourself with those planners, like making planner stickers for those planners, because there are already so many people out there making stickers. So I'm probably gonna stick with this. I will give you a hint. I have a really big surprise coming up. I don't want to give any more details than that, because I don't, with the whole coronavirus thing, it's kind of put things in a weird situation, so I don't want to give an exact date until I know when it will be the right time to share that. But I do have something really exciting coming, and you guys are hearing it first, and I haven't really talked about it yet, so be excited. So that is that. So our next thing, I've been sitting here freaking mixing grain for forever, is doing like some sort of like nature themed spread. So painting flowers, or you know, mountains or cactuses or things like that, like just doing a whole theme in watercolors. So when I was in Palm Springs at the Alt Summit, I did take a watercolor class, and one of them was painting cactuses. So I'm going to do my best. I actually have my picture. Look at that, I painted that. I have my picture right here for reference so I can remember. There's a lady you should follow. I've actually been using her little brochure to help fan dry my artwork. She has the best name ever. Her name is Eunice Sun. There you go, that's her face. She's an amazing watercolor artist, and she hosted a watercolor painting class at Alt Summit, and she's coming out with a watercolor botanicals book, which I've already pre-ordered. I would show it now, but it's not shipping out yet. But definitely go give her a follow on Instagram. I'll kind of see if that will zoom in, but if not, we'll add a little link for you guys to go follow her, because she's amazing and she has the prettiest paintings ever. So I'm gonna kind of do like a little like half cactus, like peeking out from the edge. And then I'll do maybe like a little cactus right next to him. So I'm definitely not a watercolor artist, but this is the perfect time to practice. Okay, so there's the first little guy sticking out, and we'll do another one right next to him. Maybe in this like lime green color. This is a good cactus color. So she kind of has you just like, yeah, drawing like a straight line. It's kind of hard because the paper is kind of wrinkly from the galaxy spread. Okay, so we'll let these little cactus dry for a minute, and then we'll add their little spines and their little dots. They actually have scientific names, but I don't know what they are, so I'm gonna call them little spines and little dots, and then maybe we'll add a flower. So let these guys dry, and I'll probably need a thinner paintbrush for these, so I'm gonna go ahead and pop that out. Okay, so they're almost dry. They're at least dry enough to continue to work on. I'm just gonna take this tiny little brush with some orange paint and draw on the little dots. Okay, now that I added the little dots, I'm gonna try to add little spines, and we'll see if I have the patience for this. Okay, it's not the world's worst cactus. You know, it'll do just fine. Sorry about that, my camera died, and I thought it would probably just be best to let it charge overnight and then just film this little closing really quick the next morning. So that's what I did. So if there's a weird little jumpy thing, technology. So here's a little close-up. Everything's all officially dried now since I let it dry overnight. And of course these little cactus guys, because I think my camera cut off right before I peeled the tape off for that. But how cute are those? Imagine having like a whole spread of little cactuses, cactuses, whichever the plural version of that is. And yeah, this is it. As far as bleed through, there's not a lot. Let me move this paper towel. There's a little bit right here. But overall, if anything, it just made the paper really crinkly. So you can see there's a little bit right here and right there. And then there's some from the pen when I wrote that. There's a little bit of like some bridging right there. But if anything, it just does some texture to the paper. But I kind of love it because it's going to make your planner all cool and chunky and fun. So maybe I just need to watercolor my life away and have a watercolor only passion planner. If there were only more hours in the day, am I right? So here's the full spread. I hope this inspires you to try watercolors in your planner. It is so much fun, and it kind of, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love planning, but it's also my job, so sometimes it just gets a little like not as fun as it used to be. That's what happens when your hobby becomes your job. Not that I'm complaining, but like I said, sometimes planning just isn't as fun as it used to be. That's okay. I still love it, and this definitely just made it a little bit more fun. So give it a try. Let me know if you have any questions. Again, I will link all the supplies that I used in my Amazon shop, and you can go and review it there. And if, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Please subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, comment, all that good engagement. It helps my shop so much, and it helps my YouTube channel grow a lot, and it's one way that you can help support me without having to make any purchases. So keep that in mind for all of your other YouTubers that you follow too. Any sort of engagement on their channel really does help them, and since it is such a weird time right now, we'll take whatever we can get, and your love and support means the world to me. So I will see you guys next time. I have a couple more things planned on fun things you can do in your planner spreads when you have blank weeks. So I will see you in the next video. Bye!